brother.
Yes, brother.
I mean, how can I say this? How do you personally deal with having this level of information, you know what I'm saying? And you actually going through it? How, I mean, considering 25 years ago, maybe people thought you were crazy.
Right.
And I want to know how you felt then with the struggles and the stress you had to deal with. You trying to bring this information forth to people.
Right.
And how do you feel now that more people are starting to, you know, get into it and so forth? But how does that make you feel? Was it a point where, because sometimes with the little bit of information I know, I feel stagnant. I feel it's a struggle to try to get this information across to people. And I want to know, how do you feel from the time that you came into this information to now, and some of your personal, you know, mental struggles with, you know, putting this all together?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it was difficult, because I didn't have any guides except there were one or two people that preceded me in that, then Dr. Moore and Kanya, who had the Tree of Life, and let me see, who else was there? Krishnamurti, definitely. I was talking about the first time I started out. Yeah, I came into Krishnamurti afterwards. There was, what's his name? The Sai Baba for a while. But I was just studying his materials, not into him. But a lot of the gurus, and then it was Bambi Baba, when I first thought he was going to be the next guru coming out of Africa. But I was searching for myself, and then it wasn't anything that I was trying to go out and teach, which you find out. You forge a feeling within yourself, and you know either something is right or wrong, and you live in both worlds. You don't deny that you're the flesh and you have appetites, and you don't try to ignore that you have a higher entity, and you keep you walk that balance between the two. You find a comfortable place where you are in your body and in your mind, and you keep that walk, and then your words are reflected. Because if you want to get out of here, I could have got out of here and gone live in the woods somewhere, and then I would have known all the shit that I known, but it would have been mine, and I'd have been living and eating berries and just being myself. But then something just made me come from the stage doing music and go out here and doing it the way I knew I had an ability to do it. And then trying to get somebody to see your way, the ego get in the way. And be like, well, damn, you know, don't they see? You know, and I've said this, and don't they feel me? You know, should I keep telling them? You know, it's like, oh, fuck them. No, man, I can't do that. I gotta go back and talk with them and stuff. And then what happens is, if you're not satisfied with who you are, and that you feel that the information that you got is something that you're going to get attention yourself with, because if you couldn't get attention from people in a certain way to build yourself up, so in your community as somebody who's an intellect, and do I feel me? Would they notice me and shit? You can use that and then get the knowledge and then pimp people, like you see so many people going to jail for and shit now. But then when you stepping into, slowly but surely, when you step into this world, it's like being under Nazi Germany. It's got laws that you can't step over, because your mind is resonating on a level of truth or on a level of reality that becomes its own discipline. And if you fuck with it, you'll be in pain by it. So you learn to walk on that water, that tread, and you find yourself behaving in a certain way that demands you to be that for you to do what you really want to do. And the more you do it, and the more people come to you, there's an earnest, either your lower nature sees a way for you to pimp, like preachers, or you genuinely say, well damn, you know, do you have the ability to make a person feel good about themselves? Do you just turn, all of a sudden, being somebody turns on a light, you turn a light on in somebody, it's like, oh, is that your joy now? You know, Receiving the money, yeah, because we need some necessities. But do you now live inside of the reality of the truth? Is that become your high now? Do you find that once you do that, you don't need to go eat ice cream, or you don't need to go have cake or a hamburger? Yeah, because that becomes an appetite in itself. You need to teach and talk. That's why you're so frustrated, because you're cultivating a higher appetite for the truth and for knowledge and for understanding and interfacing with the Ush, or universal love. And it begins to goad you. It sticks you, it pees you. And when you look on television, you hear ignorance, you want to attack it immediately. You want to choke it by the neck, kick it to the curb, and say, this is what's real, not you. You want to become the hero. You want to become the person that helps certain people. That's a good and noble cause, because as long as it's not attached to your ego, because then that becomes, the higher you go, the heavier the weight. You see, you got to cut that part of you that feels offended when somebody says, fuck you full of shit, that motherfucker, I saw that motherfucker like that. And then you start saying, oh, okay, well, no, fuck you. And he's like, oh, okay. Okay, no, hold up. That's why you saw me, I was at the, what do you call it? I was trying to get breathe, chill. Because the lower side tries to get in there and orchestrate shit. If you're on the path, and I know you're on the path, and I know that you're reaching these young people who just seem to be in like some la-la land somewhere, right? And they've gone someplace, it's like, what you talking about? Then there's one, just one, that says, well, I was thinking about something like that, I was thinking like, and you give them little things to think about when they're going, hey, it's like, oh shit, I made an inroads. I touched one person, because like I was saying, this was the extent of the amount of people that I used to talk to in the beginning. Maybe 3 or 4 people used to come to my class. And then it began growing, because those 3 or 4 people began talking to 3 or 4 other people. And before you know it, my class would be full, like 35, 40 people come every week to my class. Back in the days when I was at the Heal Thyself. And it was like, oh, okay, I must be doing something correct. But you got to go inside first. You got to examine what's in there. And as you're studying and as you're reading and as you're putting the information into a place where you know it's going to be cataloged for you to bring back, what part of you now is operating? Are you slowly beginning to see the part that doesn't fit that new thing? Do you see what's no longer necessary in that equation? And a good scientist is a person who's a mathematician, and he's constantly evaluating the equation that he calls his life. And every time there's something that don't match, you start taking it away. You subtract from it, and then you multiply just that little piece that may have come from somebody close to you that said, listen, that's fucked up. What do you mean it's fucked up? It's very loving. He said, that's fucked up. You should think twice about that. You think, okay, cool.
Not necessarily in those words.
Yeah. Well, you know how you interpret it. Yeah. So it's a multiple choice question in the beginning, and then it's about you taking away rather than adding to. Because you see, the problem is the illusion that you feel you need to keep bringing things to yourself to add to the true self. Actually, it's not that. It's the reverse. It's peeling off shit that brings you to your true self. And the more you take away from the bullshit, from the things that don't belong to that, the more you are going to attract those people to you that really see the true essential self. And then all of a sudden it's like you can't keep them away. No matter where you go, you can't keep them away, because automatically just opening your mouth commands attention. You see, because you'll start resonating on that level where the truth automatically comes through your mouth, and it's like, whoa, everybody else shuts up, and it's like, boom. Now, how are you going to deal with that? Now that everybody's listening to you, how are you going to deal with that? The more humble you become. More you get, more humble you become. See, now I'm supposed to be, as when my teacher taught me, it's like, you don't sit higher than everybody else. True teacher sits to the floor. See? He looks up at everyone else. That in itself shows you where the European mind is, because when you go into his office, he has you sitting lower than him. You see? But in the realm of the path, you sit lower, because you now have become not the person, but the message.